All right, next project up is this Briggs 3.5 horse. Guessing it was like a snowblower engine or something. I don't have anything to put it on. It's just an engine. I'd like to find a mini bike or a go-kart or something to put it on, but I don't really know anything about it. I got it for free. This person that gave it to me just said that they couldn't get it to run. And I think that they tried to put a new carburetor on it, which is maybe a Chinese carburetor, and maybe that's causing some issues. Like I said, I think that the problem's probably gonna lie in the carburetor, but first thing I'm gonna do is check for a spark. So get this plug off of there. She is pretty dark. I know on some of these snowmobiles, the kill switch is just when you have the throttle all the way back, it kills the spark. So I'm just gonna have it, kind of in the middle. We'll plug it in and see what we can see. That'll be good enough. Oh yeah. It's got really decent spark. It's kind of more orange than I'm used to. Instead of, usually it's like bright white. It's kind of orange. Might be in the need of a new spark plug, but I'll not worry about that for now. And just to fact test what I was saying earlier, I'm just gonna throw this throttle over to stop, pull it over, and we don't get any spark. And flip it open, and that we get spark. So that throttle also works as like a kill switch. While we're here, we might as well go ahead and check compression. So I got my compression gauge out. Don't really know what one of these would be at normally. Guessing somewhere around 100, but I guess we'll find out. All right, let's try that again. A little low, it looks like we're at like 70. I'm gonna try to open the throttle a little more by hand and see if that helps. Yeah, it did nothing. So we're only at like 70 PSI. I don't really know if that's enough. I might have to look into it. But we're just gonna keep marching ahead, I think. So I think the carb is probably the issue, but just to see if this is even gonna run, I'm gonna throw a little 2-stroke gas down the cylinder just to see if we can get it to pop over it. The gas tank is empty, so the carb is empty as well. This should tell us if there's life or not. I got the throttle open, the choke on. Again, there's no gas in the carb, so it shouldn't really matter, but. Well, it'll run. So we'll start digging into the carb next, I guess. All right, we're gonna start digging into this carburetor. The first thing I noticed, there's this like breather hose here that comes up to the carburetor, and then it goes down to the engine. It's not even really hooked up right now, but it's real sloppy in there, so something to keep in mind. To get it off, it looks like we've got 3 bolts. So we've got a star bolt here, we've got 2 Phillips there, and then we've got the 2 bolts holding the carb to the engine. So we're gonna work on those. All right, I found a T27 bit that'll work for these. Then I don't know how to get the bottom one. It looks like whoever was in there before me didn't know how either. But 10 millimeters working on this bottom one. Not really ideal. Maybe try to get this tank out of the way. Well, that took way longer than necessary. Finally. Alright, I was missing this big screw that was hiding under the throttle plate here, which will help us get the carb off of the tank. Alright, I'm gonna take this side plate off. Got this little gasket, which seems okay. We got a washer cup and a spring. This must be some kind of universal gasket because it doesn't really line up all the way. Got a screw on the side here, which is loose already. I didn't loosen that. Looks like some kind of jet that was loose. I also think that this filter is going to slide off, which then exposes another jet, which does not look like it comes out of there. So I'm just going to start hitting it with some carb spray and start on this side one here. Second one comes out the tube. That one's clear. This one comes out the base of the carb. That one's clear. See where this jet is clear. Looks like that one was clogged. I wasn't getting anything through this peephole here at first, but now when I spray it, I'm getting some stuff out of there. So that one might have been clogged. And then over here is where that screw in the side comes through. think that's all of our passages on the main body. And then we've got some passages on this cover here. That one comes out the top. Comes out the bottom. And I think we can go ahead and start putting this back together. And the bowl that's in the tank is pretty gummed up, so I'm just gonna try to clean that out a little bit. I think that acts as like the carb bowl, essentially. Somehow I picked this up and got it in the right direction. I don't know how that happened. Just gonna throw a screw in here quick because I think it's gonna be hard to hold. I think that this bottom bolt might be stripped in the head. Alright, I'm gonna try to get these linkages hooked back up. So I think this rod goes here, then onto the bottom plate here, which I might need to do before this one. Stop recording, but I just fed that tube through. I think it might just be the engine breather. I don't. Alright, I had to look up a diagram quick, but we got it all figured out. So the arm runs from the governor to the throttle plate. The spring runs from the throttle and then back to the governor plate. The choke is here, runs to the choke. And then we got one more spring here, which is just the throttle return. Alright, I'm gonna toss some gas in it so we can see if it'll run. And that'll be enough. We'll see. Alright, we got choke on. So a little bit of throttle to start. We might need to open it up a little bit more. Probably gonna take a few pulls to prime that bowl up, I would imagine. Give it some throttle. grabbed a rug to put it on just so it's not bouncing around like crazy. Let's see if we can. All right, seemed like it ran out of gas there. Not liking when the choke comes off at the moment. Wants to die, we take the choke off. Basically, I've figured out it just needs an air cleaner to run. I can take it off choke if I kind of use my hand as an air box. If I take it off choke before that, it'll cut out. And then the other thing, I had mentioned that bottom carb screw was stripped out and it fell out completely, so we'll have to tap that bottom carb screw in or do something to get it to hold in there. But as of now, it runs, as it should in the state that it's in. So we'll fire it up quick. All right, we're gonna call it there for the Briggs project for today. We got the 3.5 horse running pretty good. It does need a couple things if we were gonna put it in to something as it sits. One, it needs a Healy coil for the carb intake on the bottom. The bolt is stripped out in there. So as it was running, it fell out. Obviously, we saw it needs an air filter. We got a couple fuel leaks, so the gasket that goes between the carb and this gas tank would need to be replaced, and then the gasket on the gas cap would need to be replaced as well. Again, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this engine or what I'm going to put it in. Ideally, it'd be like a go-kart or something, a mini bike. And if that was the case, I'd probably try to do some kind of carb swap anyways and put on like a Mikuni or a PZ19 type carburetor, like a cheap Chinese carburetor, which, then would eliminate the need for the air filter and the gaskets anyways. So I'm not going to go ahead and do those at the moment. So I'm going to leave it as is and call this one a success. Thanks for watching.